What does it mean to be normal? For me, I thought it meant getting good grades, going to a very good school, getting a great job that pays a ton of money. Um, what else did I think? I thought it meant buying a house, getting married, having kids, um, continuing to work at the same company for essentially the rest of my life, or maybe change it once or twice, and then save up for retirement, and then retire when I'm 65, so that I can not get taxed on the money that I put into my retirement. And then I guess die. I guess that's what I thought what normal was. And so for me, when I thought about how to get on the path that was the right path, that's what I tried to do. And my first job out of college was in a field called investment banking. And I did this at like a smaller team out in Chicago. Bunch of like really like accomplished but very chill guys who came from Morgan Stanley, which is like another bank. And essentially I got such a wide variety of different projects and experiences. And I mean, the first deal that I was on was actually like a cannabis deal, where they were trying to essentially merge a bunch of different parts of the cannabis business. So like the farming, the brand, something called like extraction, which is where they like extract out the oil, or like make something like hash or something like that, from the cannabis plant. And then they're essentially trying to be what is now known as like a licensed producer, which is also why I know so much about cannabis. Anyways, but I worked on like a lot of different projects there, and worked under this accomplished like private equity guy that did a bunch of renewables stuff. Anyways, so it was cool, but again, given that in my last reel I said that I never really had like a keen interest in finance, like especially coming out of high school, because I had no idea like what it was or what it meant. It was what I did realize from that experience though, is that I did love learning about new businesses, and in all these different types of industries, and like seeing and then learning about like how they made money, and then what it means like for them to, I guess, like sell or like liquidate is like another term. That was always really interesting to me. But after 2 years I decided to go to New York, because my girlfriend at the time, she had moved 6 months prior, and we were just getting out of COVID. Like I graduated in 2019, and so around June of 2021, I decided to make the move out to New York. I went to another investment bank because I thought that what I needed for my next role, whatever that was, to open more doors, was to just increase my deal flow and my completed deals. And so that's what I did, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. And I don't know if you guys remember or are aware, but in 2021 there was just like M&A activity was extremely high, given there was very low interest rates. Everyone was trying to either make money from a sale, or PEs were buying a bunch and all that stuff. And so I got cooked, honestly. I remember I would be working from like maybe 9:30 a.m. to a lot of times, I think it averaged like at least until like 1 a.m. Every night. So it's like, what, 9 to 1 is 3 plus 12 plus 1, 16 hours a day, something like that. And there was another time when my MD, or my boss, was on vacation. He's like on his like anniversary or something like that, 20th or 25th. I don't remember, some big anniversary year. And I remember at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning my time, he kept me and my other buddy Patrick up, who was on the deal as well, like up until 3, like 4 in the morning, while he was on vacation with his wife, and his wife was like screaming at him in the background to to delete, to essentially just like leave the call, right? Because they were on their anniversary. And yeah, I don't know. I just realized, like, I asked myself the question, like, do I want to be like that guy? Do I want to continue to, like, yes, I'll make a decent amount of money, and maybe there's like prestige or whatever it is, right? Like maybe you get respect by being an MD at a bank or whatever it is, right? But I was like, is that worth my sanity and, in a way, like my soul, kind of, right? And like my merit, like, I don't know. And so for me, it was tough. And I think also moving into New York, I came in with a lot of kind of existing responsibilities, like being a boyfriend and like my job stuff, but also new responsibilities. Like as soon as I came to New York, I became a dad because my girlfriend and I at the time decided to get a dog, and honestly, it was the best thing that happened to me in New York. And oh man, I miss him so much. But yeah, I don't know. So it was tough. Like I'd never had a dog before. Growing up, like I had turtles and stuff, but they kind of died, like, I don't know, in like a few months. And then like I had birds, but then they also died. I wasn't that good at like taking care of things, I think, or whatever. But yeah, and so, but with this dog, like, he's like so crazy and like he's so everywhere. And I remember there was this one time he was like running up the stairs of my girlfriend's like duplex thing with her roommates, and he's like running up and down, like I don't even know, for like probably 30 minutes straight. It was crazy. and yeah, and then I think even just transitioning into New York was already kind of difficult because the pace of life is unlike anything else I experienced before, because I had lived in Chicago for a while. And yeah, I was just getting used to a lot of new things. And at that time, I decided to try and take on as much responsibility as I could, because I thought that I could do anything, and I wanted to help. And I wanted to do all these things because I had like a lot of different interests. But I realized like I was really like burning out from a lot of these different things. And there were times when I had like a lot of anxiety. I was like breaking down, like crying sometimes because of the job. And I remember this one time, my dog Dashi, when I was on the floor like crying, he came onto my lap and then started licking my face. And I was like, dude, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? And so I quit. I quit after like 3 months, I think, into me moving into New York. And my parents never wanted me to go because, well, my parents never want me to leave home, obviously, because they love having me around and I love them too. But yeah, I don't know. I like made a pretty big deal about like me going to New York, and I said bye to like my friends in Chicago and my family. And I wanted to make everyone proud. And I couldn't tell my parents then that I like quit my job after 3 months, because then they're gonna be like, oh, come back home, whatever, like you never should have gone. And so I didn't tell them, but and so I was living in New York, paying essentially like double the rent or a little bit more than I did in Chicago. Thankfully I still had a COVID deal, so it was not as bad. But yeah, I was just figuring it out, and like I had like a mini like kind of quarter life crisis then. And and yeah, I I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, which was, I don't know. I knew I couldn't do something that, I knew I wasn't ready for something that was outside of finance, I guess, like something that I studied, because then that would have been fucked, because then I don't even know like what that would have looked like, because I was adjusting to so many different new things too. And so, when I gave up my job, I was also choosing at the time, like, my girlfriend, my dog, my sanity, my literally everything else, I guess, besides my job. And so this was like the odd one out, so I took it out. And as I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do, I talked to a bunch of different people within like different industries, and I was like, oh, should I do this thing called like strategic finance, or like should I go back into another bank, like in a different team? Maybe it was a team, or go into private equity. I don't know. Like I wasn't really sure, and not to say that I could have gotten any job that I wanted, right? Like I still had to like try and like grind to do whatever it was, um, but yeah, I started reaching out to a bunch of people, started cold emailing, and thankfully a guy named Jay at Pilot. Dude, Jay, I hope you're doing well. I know you probably aren't watching this video, but I emailed him because he was like another Korean guy, and like he had a pretty similar background to me, and he had the same name as my grandfather who had passed the year before. And so I contacted him, and we called, and he was like, actually, we're about to like hire for a few positions like at our company, and the company is called Pilot. It's a Series C backed by like Sequoia Index, like Jeff Bezos' family office, and a few others. And I was really excited about the company because I was always pretty interested in startups, like ever since I joined some like VC clubs and stuff like that in college. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna really try to do this. And then thankfully I got hired, and I started my new job in February. And it was cool. Like what I was doing then was essentially as a burnt out, you know, investment banking analyst or whatever associate thing. Like I knew how to do like a few different things, I guess, but the role was essentially supposed to be like trying to be the CFO or the finance guy for these like small businesses, and I had no idea what that meant, and I think a few other people also didn't really know. Like I think other people didn't really know what it meant, but it was cool because like I feel like in general like startups don't really know like what the hell is happening most of the time, and like a lot of times it's like reacting to different things, and it's like, yeah, making different bets, but what I really loved about the startup culture was that it wasn't like a fixed mindset where it's like, people kind of tell you like this is the right way to do it or like whatever, but there's a lot of like growth mindset from it, and it's like, okay, like let's just try this, and like if it doesn't work, then we could try this other thing, and we just continue to iterate. It's like an iterative process, and it was the first time in a while, like I think I always thought that there was always the right path. Like there was always one path or like two paths that you have to go into, and that's like how you're supposed to like live life or like make decisions. But joining this startup and having the experience like of literally trying to figure out what it means to be a business person or a finance person within a small business, and also help drive like major decisions that they have, like it was pretty sick, honestly. And the people that I met there were amazing. Like it was like probably like one of the most fun, it was definitely the most fun team that I've ever had. Like a bunch of other like jaded bankers and consultants, and but also like everyone had like a life outside of work, and we were in New York, and we'd like go to happy hours, and dude, it was honestly awesome. I miss the crew out there, but for one reason or another, my manager who had hired me, not Jay, but another one, he had started his own company essentially, like while he was in business school, and yeah, he was just looking for a new person to join, because he was starting to get more traction, and the business was essentially doing something similar, like this industry of fractional CFO, or otherwise known as part-time CFO, for these early stage startups. And he had some good customers and stuff, and I really liked like his approach to mentorship, to honestly just business in general. And so I decided to join him about a year and a half or 2 years after being a pilot. And I think when I joined, like we were probably at, I don't know, maybe 100K in revenue annualized or something. But then when I left, it was at about 800, 900K, something like that. You know, and a lot of credit also, like, it goes to him, right? But yeah, I don't know. It was really fun. Like and then once I joined his thing, it was like me and him, and his message to me was always like, I want you, like, whatever you want to do, like whatever job you want to have, whatever your dream job is, like, let's try to make that work within Pilot or within CFO Advisors, right, which is his company. And for me, it just felt so freeing, because I hated being put under a box where I had to listen to certain things and just do one thing or two things like really well. And it was really nice. Like I got to, you know, essentially build up our partnerships function, which honestly didn't really make any money, but it was like more good for, like, I guess branding, but also just, you know, just getting to know like the different vendors in the space, in the startup space in the US. And but at the same time, I was also working with like really cool clients, and they were like on the cutting edge of a lot of things. Like I worked with like a Sam Altman backed AI chip company. And I learned a lot about semiconductors and like what partners are supposedly good. Like apparently Intel's not a good partner, but I think they just received investment from NVIDIA, which probably makes sense. And then I worked with like other types of companies, like, you know, randomly, like my boss from my first job at XMS, like he sent me a lead for a dress company, called Sophia, which is based in London. And I didn't have too much consumer experience, but she was just essentially looking for help on like how much to fundraise. And so I don't know, I think like every single, and I worked with a bunch of other different clients. I worked with like a VC, like helping them with like different math, and honestly, like I was really learning on the fly as things were going, but like it was very fun. And I realized like the work that I was doing actually was helping people, and like it was impacting like different business decisions and all these different things. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. And I like really like talking to different people. And then for one reason or another, Alex and I parted ways, because I realized like a little bit more that I wasn't really sure if I necessarily liked just the finance, Excel, all that part. But for me, like what I've been learning was like I really like the aspect of like just learning about the different businesses and like seeing where I could fit in, right? And like just having like a bigger scope of work in that way. But you know, as a company scales, like different roles start to kind of get siloed, right? But anyways, and so joined another company, who was my ex-girlfriend's friend at the time. It was a YC backed, CRV backed, really great company. And they're a rocket ship. Like they're called Stable. And yeah, I joined them to help with a little bit of like budgeting, like fundraise stuff, and it was fun. But I think I realized like that's not necessarily what I wanted to do. I don't think like maybe later in my career, like when I get this bug out of my system, but I don't really want to just be the finance guy anymore. You know, what, why do I have to, I didn't even want to do finance in the first place. Um, but I learned so much from it. And, you know, that's why I'm not there anymore, I guess. Right. And I was in Barcelona and I wasn't too happy. And I think she could also tell that, I wasn't like super, super happy with like, you know, maybe the role that I was in. And yeah, so I know I rambled for quite a bit, but I just thought that I should at least like share a little bit about what's been happening career wise for me. And then, like, you know, when I come to Barcelona, I like, people think I don't know, they're like, are you in music, or like, are you like something? And I'm like, yes. No, but I'm like, no, I used to, you know. And so it's like really interesting to me, because it's like what people knew me as before in the States, and you know, my family and all that, was like this guy that was very like on track all the time. Like he lived a way that was like very kind of normal, like societally, like it's good, you know. And he's on track, whatever that means. And I know a lot of my friends don't really care about that as well, but that's just kind of, I guess, like the life that I had there. And I think a lot of the reason why I feel so much freer out here is that people don't have that expectation of me, or like they don't have the expectation that like, oh, Daniel is like this guy, or like whatever guy. And you know, and like the first question I would that follows, like, what is your name, in New York and even in Chicago, is like, what do you do for work, right? And for me, I attributed so much of my identity to what I did for work, that when I felt like my work wasn't my identity, I was kind of in like a crisis. I was like, am I like a finance banker bro person, or am I just me, right? Like, what does that even mean? Like, and so that's why I'm out here. Is there anything else I want to say? Oh, something else I want to say is that I've been drinking mate. Here, I'll show you guys. It's not as well done as my friend, but it's pretty good though. I highly recommend it. I think also on an empty stomach, it is a lot easier to digest and better for like nausea stuff, compared to like drinking green tea or black tea or coffee. But I still think it's good to eat something. But yeah. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say. But oh shit, it's 23 minutes. Okay, well, I'm just gonna cut it off. All right, thanks.